Here's what happened across the U.S. in the past hour, all in 60 seconds. NTSB said FAA failures helped set the stage for the deadly 2025 mid-air crash near Reagan National Airport. Investigators urged tighter helicopter rules and stronger oversight to reduce conflict risks in that airspace. In Minneapolis, federal officials said 2 officers fired their weapons during the encounter that killed VA nurse Alex Preddy. The update comes as investigators review body camera footage and state leaders press for independent probes. The sex trafficking trial of Orrin, Tal, and Alon Alexander opened in Manhattan federal court. Prosecutors say they used wealth and access to lure and abuse women. The brothers have pleaded not guilty. Representative Henry Cuellar warned a partial shutdown could give DHS a blank check as lawmakers fight over funding after the Minneapolis crackdown. The remark underscores Democratic divisions over oversight versus keeping the agency open. Top House Democratic leaders warned Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem they could pursue impeachment unless she resigns over the Minneapolis enforcement crackdown. The threat adds pressure as Congress battles over DHS funding and oversight. President Trump rallied supporters in Clive, Iowa, pitching an affordability message ahead of November's midterms. He touted tax cuts and easing prices while urging voters to keep Republicans in control of Congress. President Trump's comments on the Minneapolis shooting are splitting Republicans on gun rights, as he argued people shouldn't bring guns into law enforcement operations. The debate could complicate GOP messaging as midterm fights intensify. Authorities said a human smuggling suspect shot at a Border Patrol agent during a traffic stop near Arivaca, Arizona, and the agent returned fire. The suspect was hospitalized and no law enforcement officers were hurt. Here's what happened across the U.S. in the past hour, all in 60 seconds. Senators Chuck Schumer warned work on the $16 billion Hudson River Rail Tunnel could pause by February 6 if the Trump administration doesn't restore frozen federal funding. The halt could cost 1,000 jobs. Texas Governor Greg Abbott ordered state agencies and public universities to stop filing new H-1B visa petitions until after next year's legislative session. The pause doesn't affect current visa holders. TikTok said a U.S. data center outage caused glitches that users interpreted as censorship of anti-Trump and anti-IC posts, including messages with Epstein. California Governor Gavin Newsom ordered a review. A Virginia state judge blocked Democrats' redistricting push this week, ruling lawmakers didn't follow required procedures for a mid-decade redraw. The decision halts plans that could reshape congressional maps before November. President Trump signed an executive order letting Los Angeles wildfire victims use federal funds to rebuild through self-certification, bypassing some state and local permits. California officials said funding, not permits, is the main obstacle. Italian leaders criticized plans for U.S. ICE agents to help with security for the 2026 Milan Cortina Winter Olympics. U.S. officials say the agents will support threat screening, not immigration enforcement. Federal prosecutors dropped assault charges against a man accused of ramming his vehicle into federal agents during a Minnesota immigration operation. The dismissal came after prosecutors presented no witnesses at a probable cause hearing. At a Minneapolis town hall on Tuesday, a man rushed the stage and sprayed Reppers Ilhan Omar with an unknown substance before attendees tackled him. Omar continued speaking as police investigated. Here's what happened across the U.S. in the past hour, all in 60 seconds. New census estimates show U.S. population growth slowed to about 0.5% in the year ending June 2020 FEMA as net immigration fell sharply. The slowdown could tighten labor supply in key industries. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani briefed residents during a major snowstorm while wearing a custom-embroidered Carhartt jacket made for the city. His office used the gear for storm messaging and public appearances. President Trump's remarks on guns at Minneapolis immigration protests are splitting congressional Republicans. Some lawmakers back tighter limits around federal operations, while others side with gun rights groups defending legal carry. Texas Governor Greg Abbott ordered state agencies and universities to halt filing new H-1B visa petitions while lawmakers review the program. The directive doesn't affect existing holders and requires agencies to report usage. Italian officials criticized plans for U.S. ICE agents to assist security for the Milan Cortina Winter Olympics. U.S. officials said the agents will support diplomatic protection and coordination, not immigration enforcement. NTSB investigators said FAA oversight and safety gaps helped create conditions for a deadly crash near Reagan National Airport. The board urged stricter separation of helicopters and jets and stronger traffic control procedures. Border Czar Tom Homan met with Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey as the White House sought to de-escalate the Minnesota enforcement surge. City officials said some federal agents will begin leaving while investigations continue. Federal prosecutors dropped assault charges against a man accused of ramming his vehicle into federal agents during a Minnesota immigration operation. The case was dismissed after prosecutors presented no witnesses at a probable cause hearing. House Democratic leaders warned they may move to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem unless she resigns over the Minnesota shootings. Trump defended Noem, and Republicans control Congress, making removal unlikely. TikTok blamed a power outage at a U.S. data center for glitches that delayed posting and search results after users reported anti-ICE content and Epstein mentions were blocked. The company said it's restoring systems.